What's going on, guys? My name is Cody and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For those of you who are not familiar with me, I was previously an ICU nurse for 7 years, in which I quit to go full-time in on real estate. I'm currently a real estate agent and a real estate investor. I started investing in real estate back in 2019 where I purchased my first mobile home, and since then I've been buying real estate and have over a $2 million portfolio. I'm also a real estate agent here in Tampa, Florida, in which I help buy and sell houses for clients. Over the past 5 years, I've helped out many of clients in both selling and buying real estate, and I've experienced just about everything you can when it comes to real estate transactions. So in this video, I'm gonna go over all the steps that you need to know in order to buy your first home. Step one, a lot of people ask, is how much money do you need to put down when you're purchasing your first home? Well, it all depends on the type of loan that you get. Now, typically, there's gonna be two types of loans that are used. That's gonna be conventional and FHA. Conventional loans are gonna be the most common product out there. They're issued by either banks or private lenders, and with those types of loans, you typically need between 3 to 10% down. With these loans, you're gonna get the best interest rate possible. Now, the next loan out there is gonna be the FHA loan, and these loans are government backed and require a lower credit score and less money down. Typically, you're gonna be putting down about 3.5%. So with a loan of $300,000, you're gonna be putting down $10,500 with this loan. If you're getting this loan, you're gonna be seen as a little bit more of a riskier borrower. So there's gonna be PMI, which is private mortgage insurance, and you're also going to have limits on this loan as to how much of a house you can afford. Now, when it comes to these different loan products, I did a full video with my friend Sam, who's a lender out of my office. I'm going to include the link in the video down below if you guys want to watch that video, learn a little bit more about the different loan types, how much money you need down. There's a full video on that, so feel free to watch that video. The next thing you want to do is build up your credit score. Typically, a 740 credit score or higher is going to get you the best interest rate possible. Like I said, FHA loans do have lower requirements. What your credit score is basically like a report card showing those lenders that you're going to be paying back the loan and that they can trust you and that you're not a risky borrower. And if you are a risky borrower, chances are you're going to have a lower credit score. So when they see these higher credit scores, they know that it's not going to be an issue. You're going to make your payments and not default on the loan. And credit scores are all based off of previous loans that you've had, whether that's student loans, credit cards, car loans, previous house loans, any type of loan or financing that you've previously done and made payments on. That helps you build up your credit. So if you currently don't have the best credit score, you really want to focus on building up that credit and getting into that 740 range. That way you can get the best interest rate possible. And apart from having a good credit score, one of the other important things that you want to do is pay off any high interest debt that you have, whether that's credit cards, car loans, any type of high interest debt that you have. You want to make sure that that's paid down before going out and applying for a home loan and purchasing a home. Once you have your down payment, you have your credit score built up, you've paid off any high interest debt, you want to go out and speak with a lender. A lender is going to get you pre-approved. They're going to do several things. They're going to ask you for 1 to 2 years of tax returns. They're going to run your credit so they can see your full credit score. They're going to ask you for 2 to 6 months of bank statements. They're going to ask you for pay stubs from your employer. They're also going to want to see typically 2 to 6 months worth of expenses saved up. Some other things they're going to ask for if it applies is any docs that you have, if you own any other properties, any assets that you own such as crypto, stocks, anything like that, any type of investments. They want to see all of that included as well. Now, if you don't have an employer and you're self-employed, it's a little bit harder. They're typically going to want to see a lot more documentation. They go through absolutely everything. And sometimes I've seen clients get a little bit frustrated about this, but honestly, on both sides, whether you have a job or you're just self-employed, they're typically going to be asking you through docs, even when it gets a little bit closer to closing. I see clients get frustrated all the time because the lender's asking them for more documents, more paperwork. Well, typically, if you just have a picky underwriter, they're going to be asking you for more things just to make sure that you're safe to lend to and that there's going to be a high chance that you pay back that loan. So a lot of people will ask me, when is the best time to buy? And typically the spring and summer months are going to be some of the best times to buy. There's going to be more opportunities because a lot of sellers wait until these months to list their house for sale. So yes, there will be more inventory typically during these months, but at the same time, there's also going to be a lot more competition out there. A lot of buyers are looking to buy at this point in time. So sometimes you can see multiple offer situations during these months. Now, on the other hand, wintertime, there's typically less people looking, but there's also less sellers. So there's still limited inventory. So really saying when the best time to buy is, it's kind of hard to do. However, it really all just depends on when you're ready to buy a house. I wouldn't try to time the market or anything like that, which leads me to the next question. A lot of people ask me is, should I wait for the market to drop? Should I wait for the market to crash? Well, the thing is, nobody knows what's going to happen with the market. I don't care who you are. There's all these analysts that throw out headlines and articles saying that the market's going to crash, the market's going to go up. It's really impossible to know when it's going to happen, and it typically takes a long period of time for this to happen. My best advice is, if you're planning on living in a place for at least 3 years, then it's probably best that you just find the right property, find something that meets your budget, that meets all the needs and requirements that you have, and go out and purchase that home versus trying to time the market. Because chances are you're not going to be able to time the market and it's better off that you just purchase a home that you fall in love with versus just waiting and going off of everyone else's predictions. So now you have your money saved up, you've got a good credit score, you've pre-approved with a lender. The next thing you want to do is make a list of the things that you need versus the things that you want. Now the things that you need may include location, size of the house, the size of the kitchen, things like that, versus the things that you want, like does it have a pool, does it have a huge yard, does it have a view, does it have a Starbucks at the corner that you can walk to and blow all your money on coffee. Another thing that you really want to consider is, do you want a single family? Do you want a condo or a townhome that have maybe a pool and a gym where you don't have to worry about lawn care? So with that being said, once you have everything picked out, what you need versus what you want, the next thing you need to decide is, should you use a realtor? Now, yes, I am a real estate agent, so I'm going to try to answer this as non-biased as possible. So when it comes down to it, the seller is typically responsible for paying the commission of both the listing agent and the buyer's agent. That commission ranges anywhere between 4 to 6%, depending on whatever the seller agrees to pay. Now, I always advise using your own realtor versus using the selling agent, because typically using your own real estate agent, they're going to be able to get you the best deal, be able to do all the negotiating for you, and they're going to be working exclusively for you. Now, if you think about it, you go to try to use the listing agent, you may save a little bit of money, but chances are that listing agent is just going to double side the deal and keep all that money in their pocket. Now, the listing agent is hired by the seller, so their job is to get the most money from that property as possible for their client. It's always best that you work with your own agent who's knowledgeable about the market, knowledgeable about negotiating real estate deals, and can help you get the best deal possible. Now, another thing I want to mention is, when you go to pick out your real estate agent, if you end up using one, be sure to use someone who's knowledgeable, who has a good track record, who's done plenty of deals and knows what they're doing. Because if you go out and use your best friend or your family member who just got the real estate license, chances are they could actually cost you thousands and thousands of dollars. So definitely be sure to use somebody who knows what they're doing and can help you out and navigate you through this process. A good agent will always pay for themselves and help you out in the long run. So just be sure to use a real estate agent that fits your needs, that you know is knowledgeable and has a good track record. That way they can help navigate you through the real estate process. Real estate agents do this every day versus most homeowners only do a real estate transaction every 3 to 5 years. So it can be a little bit overwhelming when you're trying to navigate a real estate transaction and you have no clue what you're doing because you've never done it before or you haven't done it in 3 to 5 years. So the time frame on buying a home really depends on how picky you are. Now, typically, a lot of clients are able to find the house that they love within 30 days. And from that point, once they get the house on their contract, it's typically another 30 days until you close and get the keys. Now, if you're paying cash, you can close in as little as 15 days. So one of the next important things that you want to do is make sure you see as many houses as possible. Now, if you're using a real estate agent, be sure to have them show you every house that's in the market within your budget. That way you can start seeing what you like, what you don't like. This could even cause you to change your criteria, because once you start seeing houses and seeing things, you may change your mind on one thing that you like versus you don't like. Don't be scared to use your real estate agent. Have them show you all the houses that you want to see. That way when it comes down to it, you know what the right house is for you. So now you found the perfect house, and at this point it's time to submit an offer. When it comes to making an offer, be sure to make an offer that you won't regret in the case that the sellers decline that offer. I've seen so many clients regret that they didn't offer an extra $5,000 or $10,000 and they lose the deal. Don't be scared to offer $5,000 or $10,000 more. To put this in perspective, an extra $10,000 on a loan is only $70 extra a month. So if you're okay with losing that house over $70 a month, then don't offer more. But if that's not the case, be sure to offer the top price. That way you don't have any chances of losing the house. Which leads me to the next thing is, don't get too emotionally involved. I've seen clients get way too emotionally involved on houses and they lose perspective on things and they start offering crazy amounts over. But you need to be realistic. Don't get out of control. Keep in mind, if you submit an offer on a house and you don't get the offer accepted, it's gonna be okay. There's gonna be another house that comes up that you will fall in love with. I see it happen all the time, and chances are it just wasn't the right house for you. So now your offer's been accepted. Congratulations. Now it's time to do your inspection period. Typically you have a 15-day due diligence period. In this period, you're able to get all of your inspections done, and I highly advise that you inspect everything possible within that house, starting from a general inspection, termite inspection, roofing, plumbing, AC, anything possible that you can get inspected, have that done. And what this does is it shows anything wrong with the house that maybe the sellers were unaware of, or maybe you couldn't see with the naked eye. And what this does, if anything comes up during this period, it actually allows you to renegotiate the price or ask for a seller credit in the event that anything needs to be corrected or repaired. Or maybe some of these repairs are things you can get done yourself or you can live with. And another piece of advice, when it comes down to asking for repairs or credits, it's best to not list individual things down, such as a roof repair for $1,000 or a plumbing repair for $200, electrical for $350. Instead, what you want to do is take all of the reports that you've gathered in this due diligence period, send them all over to the sellers, ask for one straight up price as a credit. And what this does is it kind of overwhelms the sellers. They don't want to look through all these reports. Now, say if it's $10,000 you're asking for, maybe they only give you $5,000 or $7,000. But what that does is instead of them going through each individual item and saying, well, this isn't worth that much, this isn't worth that much, they just see one number and have all these reports and all this extra information which overloads them. They agree to just give you the credit so the deal moves on and they can close, take their money, you get the house, and move in. So you've passed your inspection period, you're waiting for the title company to do their job, you're waiting for the appraisals to come back, you're waiting for the lenders to finish up their job. Things are all moving smoothly. Next thing that you're going to be responsible for is the closing costs. So when it comes to closing costs, you're typically going to be paying around 1% of the purchase price on the home. So if the house is $400,000, you're going to be spending $4,000 in closing costs. Now, one of the other important things to consider is whenever you're writing that offer up, it's always a good idea to ask the seller for closing costs. Now, whether that's $5,000 or $10,000 you're asking for, even if it exceeds the amount that closing costs are, they can also contribute to what's called prepaids, which is buying down your interest rate, which can actually save you a lot of money in the long term. And keep in mind, let's say if a house is listed at $410,000 and it's been sitting on the market for a little bit, instead of asking for $400,000, I would personally offer $410,000 and ask for a $10,000 closing credit. And what that's going to do is pay for your closing costs, potentially buy down your interest rate, and save you money in the long run. So when it comes to purchasing a house for yourself, you want to make sure that you find somewhere that you can see yourself living in long term, that you absolutely love. Not necessarily the best deal, but the main thing that matters is, do you love the house? You don't want to worry about what will this rent for? Is this a good investment? I mean, yes, houses can be a great investment, but in the long run, it's all about what makes you happy and purchasing something that you're not going to regret buying. I hope this video is helpful. If you guys could do me a favor, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.